Good afternoon and welcome to the April 1st, 2020 Apopka City Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. We have with us, Joe Bird is going to give us our invocation, pledge, and fact of the day.
Let us pray. Kind and gracious Father, we come to you in that name which is above every other name, the name of Christ Jesus. We call out to you during this time across our nation and even around the world, asking for your mercy and asking for your wisdom. We pray for those who are grieving today for the loss of life, those who are in dire circumstances because of the circumstances that are required to fight this current pandemic. We pray, Father, for wisdom for our local leaders here in Apopka, those in the state of Florida, for our president, for our Congress, and we pray for leaders around the world. We pray, Father, for health workers and first responders who put themselves in harm's way. We pray, Father, that you will grace us with that which we need from you, and we look forward with hope to that time when, Father, we can truly move forward, not just in the way things were, but when we do go back to the way things were, we will have more grateful hearts. We thank you for these things and ask it all in the name of your Son. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I like this fact of the day thing. I could get used to doing this all the time. On April 3rd, 1860, the first Pony Express mail traveling by horse and rider relay team simultaneously leaves St. Joseph, Missouri and Sacramento, California. 10 days later, the westbound rider and mail complete the 1,800-mile journey and setting a new standard for speedy mail delivery. Today, we should be thankful for our current supply chain partners who are on the road to recovery, who for our road to recovery would be much worse without them, as they're all bringing the very much needed transportation of all the supplies that we need. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes. Any changes, corrections? If not, need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bankson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, agenda review. Edward?
Yes, Mayor, there are a few changes or a few corrections. Under public hearing, item 1 will be withdrawn by the applicant when we take that up. And then item 6, ordinance 2758, will be postponed to a date uncertain. That's all the changes.
And which one? That was public hearing withdrawn? Okay.
Yeah, item 1 will be withdrawn by
Yep.
the applicant, and item 6, when we take it up, will be postponed to a date uncertain.
Okay, okay. Okay. All right, we got a consent agenda, or excuse me, public comment. I have one public comment. Can I find it? This is from Carl Charlotte, 1367 Juniper Hammock Street in Winter Garden, Florida, 34787. And his subject and concern: hi, with the virus coming in and hurting our economy, does this mean we should no longer anticipate our city center? Many Apopkans were looking forward to having retail and fine dining options within our city. Many of us have to take our income and go elsewhere instead of supporting Apopka. The city center can help Apopkans generate a lot of income and create more jobs. Will we be getting a city center, and if so, can there be updates to when development is coming? I got a little bit of I guess, an update on that. One is that the hotel has put off their opening indefinitely. We're thinking probably May or June. I can also tell you that the apartment builder that was on the 6th Street property has withdrawn his contract to buy the property. So, I think until we kind of get on the backside of this COVID-19 virus, I don't think we're going to see anybody really stepping forward on retail or dining options. Okay. That's the only one. Anything else? Did anybody else come in? Okay, all right. To access a public comment form, you can visit www.apopka.net/city-council-form for anybody that wants to do it later. Consent agenda, anything needs to be pulled? Any concerns? If not, look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Becker, second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries unanimously. Next up, we got the Martin Ridge PUD, lots 3 and 4. Jim?
Good afternoon, Jim Hick, Community Development Director. I'll be heading up the staff presentations for all the items coming from Community Development today, just to keep everybody safe. The first item for this is the Martin Ridge PUD, and it's the replat for lots 3 and 4. Let me get this. The owner and applicant is the MRAD Phase 2 LLC. The engineer is Appian Engineering. Luke Lawson is here representing. This is located off of Martin Ridge, just to the north of the Martin Ridge Apartments Phase 1. This is a high-density, 15 dwelling units per acre development overall, with 264 units being planned. And it is a planned unit development on 16.8 acres. This is a replat for for lots 1, 3, and 4, which does propose basically 3 lots out of it. This is the original the actual location, and the plat. As you can see, this is the original plat. It originally had this is the Phase 1 apartments. This is it's not a charter school, private school here, and this is Lot 3 is the original location for the second phase of the apartments, and this was originally going to be drainage. So they're splitting this so that this is actually a recreation track now, and this is still for drainage, and then this is where the apartment complex will end up going. The Development Review Committee did recommend approval. Planning Commission on March 10th also recommended approval of the proposed plat, and the recommended motion is to approve the Martin Ridge PUD Lot 3 and 4 replat.
Any questions for Jim? Okay, anybody from public wish to speak on this matter? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and look for a motion to approve the Martin Ridge PUD replat for lots 3 and 4.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson, second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. It was Commissioner Smith that seconded it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Smith. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries unanimously. Okay, next up, Legacy Hills.
This is a little bit more involved. This is the final development plan and plat for the Legacy Hills. The owner is JEL Land Development LLC. The applicant is GTC Engineering Corporation. It is located south of Shopkey Road and west of Shopkey-Lester Road. This is a residential low development, 0 to 5 dwelling units per acre. It is a PD also. And the proposed development is for 48 single-family homes on 19.67 acres. This also is being developed in accordance with the 1993 Land Development Code. The planned unit development is from Ordinance 2660. Council did review and approve the same preliminary development plan back on March 6, 2019, and the plat is consistent with the preliminary development plan itself. This is a combination of lot sizes. There's 85 feet on the exterior on the south, 60 foot on the interior on the north, and 70 foot wide lots on the west side, and along Shopkey Road, they're kind of pie-shaped lots, so they're quite a bit wider that actually face the road itself. The Development Review Committee recommended approval to be, and that it was consistent with the preliminary development plan and the final development plan, and recommends approval of Legacy Hills plat. The Planning Commission on March 10th also unanimously found that the plat to be consistent with the Land Development Code and recommended approval of the Legacy Hills plat, and staff does recommend approval also.
Any questions for Jim?
No questions. I just want to remind the public who's watching from home that don't have the luxury of being in here right now that the last business as well as this business, these are things that have been in flight for some time. We've reviewed these in the past. These aren't net new developments that are coming into the city of Apopka. We want to make sure that they have a say in that. These are pieces of business that, to your point, Jim, you mentioned it. We've already seen the preliminary plan. It falls within our codes and what we expected from the
Yes, sir.
applicant. This is just a restatement of a final piece of the steps, right? And same with Martin Ridge, the apartment. You know, when people hear apartments, it piques their interest a little bit. But Martin Ridge is already, the phase one is already complete and livable. So this is just, business in that regard. So.
Good point.
Okay.
I have just one question. The lots on the east, those match the lot lines of the next neighborhood that's over beside them, I'm assuming?
Yeah, well, hold on, let me.
The 85-foot
Let me go through
lots.
this real quick. There's nothing to the west.
Oh, no, to the east.
And to the east, yes, that's why they changed those so that they were a little bit wider on that side.
So
on
the
that
the
east-
ones already
I'm sorry,
there,
east
when they
side,
look
not
over,
south
it'll be
side.
matching backyards?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you,
So they don't match the lot lines, but they're the same width? Okay.
Same size, yeah.
Okay.
These are the 85s along here, so that they're more consistent with
Okay,
what's
I
on
can
the,
see it now.
on the south side, yeah. This is Shopkey Road and Shopkey Lester. And the Alexander Estates, I believe, is on the north side over here.
Mhm.
Or, I'm sorry, up here.
Okay, thanks.
okay. All right. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and look for a motion to approve the Legacy Hills plat.
So move.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up is ordinance number 2753. Susan?
Ordinance number 2753, an ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, to extend its territorial and municipal limits to annex pursuant to Florida Statute 171.044, the hereinafter described lands situated and being in Orange County, Florida, owned by Vibro Enterprises, Inc., located at 25 East Lester Road, providing for directions to the city clerk, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Okay, and this is the one that the applicant wants to withdraw. So
Yes,
we're
sir.
gonna
If you
withdraw this
recall, this
application.
is the development that was just west of Leicester. We were looking to annex the property in, and we had a disagreement with Orange County in regards to creating an enclave. So the applicant did meet with Orange County back on the 17th, and we're going to work out an agreement where we could do one portion of the development in the city, and then another portion might be the retention pond, possibly in the county. Similar, we've done something similar to this in the past, except we got the retention pond, they got the development. So depending on drainage patterns, we'll see if we can work something out with this one too.
Okay, any questions for Jim? Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay, you need a motion to withdraw ordinance number 2753.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2762.
Ordinance number 2762, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Apopka, Florida, amending Chapter 54 Retirement Systems by amending Article 2, General Employees Retirement System, Section 54-19, Definitions, Section 54-24, Benefits, Amounts, and Eligibility, Section 54-44, Deferred Retirement Option Plan, providing for codification, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and setting an effective date.
Edward?
Mayor, this is the second reading of ordinance 2762 related to the General Employees Retirement Pension Plan. There are no changes from the first reading, but I can answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for Edward? Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, look for a motion to adopt ordinance number 2762.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2763.
Ordinance number 2763. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Apopka, Florida, amending Chapter 54, Retirement Systems by amending Article 4, Police Officers Retirement System, Section 54-119, Definitions and Rules of Construction, Section 54-124, Benefit Amounts and Eligibility, Section 54-125, Pre-Retirement Death, Section 54-146, Deferred Retirement Option Plan, providing for a codification, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and setting an effective date.
Okay, Edward?
Mayor, Commissioners, this is ordinance 2763. This is the second reading, and this is the ordinance that amends the police officers' retirement system. And there are no changes from first reading to second reading. So I'm
Okay,
here
any-
for any questions.
Any questions for Edward? Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, look for a motion to adopt ordinance number 2763.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2764.
Ordinance number 2764, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Apopka, Florida, amending Chapter 54, Retirement Systems by amending Article 3, Firefighters Retirement System, Section 54-66, Definitions and Rules of Construction, Section 54-71, Benefit Amounts and Eligibility, Section 54-72, Pre-Retirement Death, Section 54-73, Disability, Section 54-93, Deferred Retirement Option Plan, providing for codification, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and setting an effective date.
Edward?
And finally, ordinance 2764. Again, this is second reading for this ordinance, and in this ordinance is relates to the firefighters' retirement system. Again, there are no changes from first reading to second reading, but I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Edward? Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, look for a motion to adopt ordinance number 2764.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Becker.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2757.
Ordinance number 2757, an ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, changing the zoning from T Transitional District to PR Parks and Recreation District for certain real property located north of Lust Road and west of State Route 429, comprising of 69.5 acres more or less and owned by the City of Apopka, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Okay, Jim?
Hi, Jim Hitt again. This is ordinance 2757. This is kind of the finale of the Hickerson property, bringing it into a conservation Parks and Recreation District within the city of Apopka. It is located off of Binion Road, Lust Road. It's at the entrance to our currently closed Lake Apopka Loop Trail. Hopefully we'll be able to get that open soon. But again, it is not located on the north side of Lust Road. The future land use is Parks and Recreation, and again, it is going from transitional to Parks and Recreation, and 69.5 acres. The Development Review Committee did find the proposed amendment consistent with the comprehensive plan and the character of the surrounding area. Planning Commission, at its meeting on March 10th, also found the proposed change in zoning consistent with the comprehensive plan and the surrounding area. And the recommended motion is to accept first reading of the ordinance and hold it over for second reading and adoption on April 15th.
Okay, any questions for Jim?
I'm just glad you said that because I feel like this is the 8th time that we've looked at this piece of business.
Besides
So
talking
literally,
about buying
the
it.
last 2 times was just annexation, then future land use, and now zoning? Okay.
Yes, sir.
God, it feels literally like we've looked at this 10 times.
It's a long time
No
coming.
questions, though.
Okay, any questions? Well, one of the things, make sure we got it perfectly clear, the Wildlife Drive is closed, the loop trail is not closed.
Yes, sir.
So
Thank
there-
you.
So for people that want to go to Magnolia Park and get on their bikes or walk from there down to the pump house and back, that is
They
open.
can do that.
The wildlife drive, where you get in your car and drive along the outer rim of the Lake Apopka, is not open.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and look for a motion from the council.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2758.
Ordinance number 2758. An ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, changing the zoning from T Transitional District to MUESGT, Mixed Use East Shore Gateway District, for certain real property located north of Harmon Road and east of South Binion Road, comprising of 19.71 acres, more or less, and owned by Binion Road LLC, providing for a severability and providing for an effective date.
Jim?
And this is the one that the request from Jeff Summit, who's from Summit Engineering, is the request to postpone this one to a date uncertain, which means we will have to re-advertise everything and do the public notification at the on-site and mail out again. One of the main reasons is it's the ongoing OCPS issues with the concurrency valuation for the properties with the school system. So recommended postpone.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Any questions? for-
may I just give a comment on this matter?
Sure. Let me ask any questions then. Any questions? Okay. Yes, Mr. Burt.
Joseph Byrd, City Attorney. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, my comment isn't about the withdrawal. The withdrawal is fine with me, in fact, probably the best thing. I just want to make the Commissioners aware. OCPS stopped processing any CEAs back in July of 2019. When we went to meetings at the first of this year, they said they were looking for a legislative fix. At that meeting, you recall that I have told you that I and other attorneys have asked them to be prepared for a second track in case that legislative fix didn't come. At one point, we thought that there was going to be some language in legislation that was going to give a carve-out for Orange County. That did not happen. The legislation passed without any carve-out for Orange County, and in fact, the legislation that passed included some preemptory language. So it essentially says almost the opposite. It says that the law as it applies in that you have that Orange County and every other county in the state of Florida must give a dollar-for-dollar credit toward impact fees for anything that's paid through any kind of agreements such as the CEA applies, and it's preemptory. So in other words, there is no legislative fix. Accordingly, I made a phone call to General Counsel for OCPS, and when I didn't receive a response, I followed up in an email to say, hey, I'm aware now that there's no legislative fix. Where are we at? And the response that I got was essentially, we don't know. Every solution we have seems to lead to litigation. And I'm going to forward your email. In essence, I interpret that as a municipal attorney as we're back to where we were July 1, that they're not giving us any indication that they're going to be promoting or they're going to be considering and issuing these CEAs to allow development to go forward unless there's some litigation. My concern for that is not to make an issue of it today. We have other pressing matters with COVID-19 pandemic. However, I want the council to be aware that in order to pull out financially, economically, of the slump that will be caused by COVID-19, any economic stimulus you can get, you will be looking for. Not just you as a council, I mean any person, any county, any city. And it would be, in my opinion, which is not my domain, it's your domain, but in my opinion, to think that we will hold up development that has jobs because coming out of this, because OCPS has not come up with a solution when they had more than enough time to do that, tells me that as a citizen, it just shocks my conscience. We're going to need this development and the economic side. It doesn't matter to me how they work it out, just work it out. And just find a solution, because otherwise there will be jobs that cannot go forward, there will be work that cannot be done, because they simply will not come up with a solution. So I may be coming to you in the future with some other ways. To be quite frank with you, I don't know exactly if their general counsel was suggesting that there might be a way, instead of waiting for us to get into the position where we were before, where we were threatened either by OCPS to sue us or a developer to sue us, that we might be able to petition and ask the court ourselves we have these agreements, and you don't sue them, but you ask them for declaratory relief. Judge, help us. Here's what the state law says. Here's what an interlocal agreement says. Here's what a charter says. Help us. Decide for us, because we're at an impasse. So with that in mind, I don't want to necessarily suggest that right now that this is the time to do it, but I do want to bring this up, that's why this matter is being withdrawn, I understand. And as I told you in previous meetings, the Hamrick situation would not be the last one, and I fear what I have feared now all the way back has come to pass. There is no answer, there is no way moving forward, and they have given us no solutions. And so I just want to make that comment. I'm open for any kind of questions you may have, and anything you want to discuss.
Any questions for Joe?
Attorney
Yeah.
Byrd, it seems to be a two-edged sword. And I understand, yes, we need the development and we need the jobs, but on the other hand, we know that our schools are over capacity. So we do the development and we have these homes and families moved in, but then where do these kids go? So is there any way possible that during this COVID-19 that this could be worked out, so when we are ready to start construction again, that we have both parties on board and that we don't have this two-edged sword?
Sure, and I think that in a meeting where there were developers, attorneys, I was present at the meeting, we gave more than many solutions. Here's a simple solution: raise the impact fee, do away with the CEAs.
There you go.
Simple solution. But that doesn't seem to be something that anyone on the county side or OCPS's side at this point seems to be interested in doing. But it's a pretty simple solution. The law is you take care of this through impact fees through CMAs. That's the law. Orange County developed the CEA, which was different. It's the only county that has this kind of system. And basically this statute, now with preemptory language, is saying, Orange County, you need to be like everybody else. And the answer is not, and I'm glad you raised the issue, Commissioner Smith, because the answer is not, and I don't even think developers, and certainly I am not saying, let's just build willy-nilly without regard to the capacity. My answer, what we're saying is, fix it. Get it going forward. You need the money? I got it. I'm not trying to cheat OCPS out of a dime, but do something. And what something is seems pretty simple to me. I mean, it's not simple. I realize it's not simple. But if it was worked on since July, we would be done by now.
And the impact increase would have to be initiated by Orange County School Board or Orange County? Is
That's
that
right.
correct?
That's correct.
Oh.
And we could have been done by now. We would be, if they would have started this back in July, it's my opinion that we would already be now moving ahead. And they would have not lost a dime or nickel. They would have gotten everything. Now the timing, they can only get, like all of us, we can only get our impact fees on the issuance of the building permit. All of us have to live with it. Every county in the state of Florida has to live with it. I don't know what makes Orange County any special compared to Miami-Dade or Hillsborough County. The point is, though, if they had started trying to align what we're doing with the statute back last July, we wouldn't be where we're at now. And now we're nowhere. Now we're back where we were last July. And everything that's been held up, all the development that's been held up, probably is going to be at least, I don't know, if we go to the courts, 18, 24 months. I mean, somewhere, somehow, something's got to break the impasse. And we have given them more than ample suggestions on what they can do. It's time for them to come forward, in my opinion.
Is this in any way focused or punitive toward us because of our decision, or is there a danger of that in the future?
I can't,
Because we just got a relief school, obviously, and that's in the works, but I just don't want this to become a negative impact to us because of this.
Commissioner Banks, I cannot say that it's anything toward Apopka, and I certainly can't say anything about the agenda of OCPS or the board. That's something that could be directed toward them about why their answer every time you ask them, why aren't you coming up with a solution, is we can't come up with a solution that doesn't conflict with the charter or doesn't conflict with the interlocal agreements. Well, we're in this fix. You got this conflict. You got to do whatever you got to do. You got to change the charter. You got to change the interlocal agreements. You got to do something. And we understand the financial, their need to have their finances. So whatever their impact will be, or whatever their motive might be toward the city of Apopka, I don't interpret it as being anything malevolent toward us. What I do think is that it impacts Apopka in a particularly difficult way, because in Orange County, we are one of the counties that has the most development land use activity going on. So we're feeling the brunt of this. I mean, Orange County has about 6 or 8, I understand, projects that have been on hold since last July as well because of this. But I do know that also Ocoee is also backed up on some projects, and there's frustration on their part. But understand that it impacts Apopka in a way that it doesn't impact other Orange County municipalities that just have, an occasional land use issue that comes by where there's new development, because they're largely built out. So I don't think that that's intentional on OCPS's fault, on OCPS's part toward us. Now, developers may have a view that it's toward them and not toward Apopka. I've heard that rumor. I don't know that that's true, and I'm not, I don't have any opinion as to that. But my point is it does impact us in a way that I think is different than it does to other municipalities, and it's something that all I'm asking is just follow the law. I'm not asking you not to build your schools that you need. I'm asking you to just follow the law.
Any other questions for Joe? Just so you know, Commissioner Smith, from what I gather, there's $500 million in undedicated funds at OCPS that they could build, ever how many schools that would build tomorrow. They got $500 million that's available. So we could be building more schools. I'm not saying there won't be more than that. Obviously, there's more than that needs, but 500 million will still build, at 30, 40 million a school, that's 10 or 12 schools across the county. So anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Let's see, anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? If not, I'll look for a motion to withdraw ordinance number 2758 to a date uncertain.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson, second by Commissioner.
Is it a withdrawal or is it postponement?
Postpone.
Yeah, postpone, I'm sorry. So we got a motion to postpone ordinance number 2758 to a date uncertain. Motion was by Commissioner Bankson, second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Ordinance number 2759.
Ordinance number 2759, an ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, amending the future land use element of the City of Comprehensive Plan of the City of Apopka, changing the future land use designation from industrial to mixed use for certain real property generally located at 2610 Peterson Road, owned by PMDW Ventures LLC, comprising of 3.37 acres, more or less, providing for severability and an effective date.
Okay, Jim?
Thank you. This comprehensive plan amendment and the following ordinance is a change of zoning for basically the same general location and properties, but we do need to hold them out, obviously, separately. So this one is it's a comprehensive plan amendment for changing the industrial land use to a mixed-use district, which is up to 15 dwelling units per acre with and the property is owned by PMDW Ventures LLC. The applicant is GL Summit. Jeff Summit is here representing. And the location is on Peterson Road. This is, to give you a little bit of perspective, Coca-Cola is right in this area here. This is Orange Avenue here. King Street is here. Peterson goes actually right in through to, it doesn't right now, but it goes in through to Florida Logistics Park. And then Avian Parkway is actually, will come down in this area location right here. So the property right now is this little small piece right here and the northern portion here. So this is, again, it's a comprehensive change on 3.37 acres. It was just kind of a small little hole sitting there, and we needed to make it the same land use as the rest of that. The Development Review Committee did recommend approval, and it is consistent with the comprehensive plan, obviously with the area also for the land use itself. The Planning Commission on March 10th also found the proposed future land use amendment to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and compatible surrounding areas. And staff is recommending to accept the first reading of ordinance 2759 and hold it over for second reading and adoption on April 15th.
Any questions for Jim?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What's the plan for Peterson Road again? I know that we're planning on extending it west to hook up with the industrial park, but in terms of just general improvement, hooking back into Orange?
Right now, the main portion coming out to King Street, we're looking at that as part of the extension for Avian Parkway, so we have a consistent roadway system going up to Orange Avenue. The western portion from Avian Parkway, that would be up to the developer of this property in here, and there's really no plans at this stage to extend it over to, we have about 25 feet going underneath the 429, so it doesn't really have a lot of space. We'd actually have to get another 25 to 30 feet of road right away to actually make it a two-lane road going over to the west. So right now, it's a dream to be able to do that interconnectivity, but it would also be connecting industrial uses on the west side to more residential uses on the east
But
side.
the Avion Point extension going up north, what's the time frame for that?
They're under construction right now for Avian Point itself. We've got to get the design guidelines. We're actually going to be meeting with, we're trying to set up a meeting with the developer for Avian Point to see whether or not they would be able to do a design-build contract to basically utilize the same developers that they have for Avian Parkway to continue with Peterson and King Street. That was offered. It was a request back about 4 years ago, and at that time, the city engineer wanted to do it ourselves, so we kind of got put into that boat. And now we're trying to, I mean, if he doesn't want to do it or take it on, we'll give him impact fee credits and things like that for the roadway itself. But then we're going to be having to reconstruct the road for the city itself.
Okay. And then similar to the last business that we just postponed, obviously, a case like this where we're changing future land use, the CEA comes back into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But on the staff report, it says that we do have an approval letter from Orange County Public Schools for this particular
sir.
piece of business.
Yes, it's a minor amendment for the number of units that are there.
Okay.
Okay. Jeffrey, you want, okay, we're good. Anybody else from the public wish to speak on this matter? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Look to approve ordinance number 2759, first reading, and hold it over for a second reading.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Bankson, second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2760.
Ordinance number 2760, an ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, changing the zoning from CC Community Commercial and IL Light Industrial districts to MU ESGT, Mixed Use East Shore Gateway District for certain real property located at 2600 and 2610 Peterson Road, comprising of 41.4 acres, more or less, and owned by PMDW Ventures LLC, providing for directions to the Community Development Director, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Okay.
Generally, same location, but again, this is, there's two zoning districts that are on the property. In this case, on the northern portion, we got some CC, we got some industrial, and we're just matching that to the gateway on the southern portion of this property. It's always interesting to see properties and how they get separated out, but in this case, they were looking for some industrial. You can kind of see it mirroring the property on the east side of what would be Avian Parkway. So we've got, we're just, again, making these two consistent with the property to the south side. Again, it's 41.4 acres. This will be developed in accordance with the 2019 Land Development Code. Turn the page here just a sec. And Development Review Committee did recommend approval of the rezoning. Planning Commission on March 10th also recommended or found the proposed change of zoning consistent with the comprehensive plan of the character of the surrounding area. And the recommendation is to approve the first reading of ordinance 2716, hold it over for second reading and adoption on April 15th.
Okay, any questions for Jim? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Close the public hearing, look for a motion to approve ordinance number 2760 at first reading and hold it over for a second reading.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2761.
Ordinance number 2761. An ordinance of the City of Apopka, Florida, to extend its territorial and municipal limits to annex pursuant to Florida Statute 171.044, the hereinafter described land situated and being in Orange County, Florida, owned by Collier Benj Land Joint Venture LLC, located north of Dewberry Avenue and east of Hermit Smith Road, providing for directions to the city clerk, severability, conflicts, and an effective date.
Okay, Jim?
This one, as was read as the first reading for the annexation for Collier Bench. This was also, it's a 3.53 acre portion or parcel. It's kind of sandwiched in. This is all City of Apopka that we annexed in as part of the, if you recall, it was originally termed the 429 West project, and I believe they've settled with the Floridian Town Center for a name. This is the portion here. Again, it is consistent with the area that they're looking at. They are talking to this property owner too, this finger-like projection here. And it will be part of that overall project. The Development Review Committee did recommend approval of the annexation, and the recommended motion is to approve the first reading of ordinance 2761 and hold it over for second reading and adoption on April 15th.
Any questions for Jim? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Close the public hearing, look for a motion to approve ordinance number 2761 at first reading and hold it over for a second reading.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously. Resolution 20-20-05. Edward?
May I read it down? Resolution number 2020-05, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Apopka, Florida, granting a non-exclusive franchise to Waste Pro USA, Inc. to provide roll-off container collection and disposal of waste in the City of Apopka, Florida, pursuant to the City of Apopka Code of Ordinances, Chapter 58, Article 3, providing for the term of years for the franchise, providing for franchise fee, providing for an effective date.
Okay, Edward?
Resolution 2020-05 grants the non-exclusive franchise roll-off container collection and disposal of waste in the City of Apopka for Waste Pro USA, Inc. So this is the resolution that the code requires us to do anytime we're going to have someone, they have to do a non-exclusive franchise agreement with us to be able to provide this service across our roads.
Okay, any questions for Edward? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, look for a motion to approve Resolution 20-20-05.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Becker.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, Resolution 2020-06.
Resolution number 2020-06, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Apopka, Florida, granting a non-exclusive franchise to Randy Suggs, Inc. to provide roll-off container collection and disposal of waste in the City of Apopka, Florida, pursuant to City of Apopka Code of Ordinances, Chapter 58, Article 3, providing for the term of years for the franchise, providing for franchise fee, providing for an effective date.
Edward?
Resolution 2020-06 grants the non-exclusive franchise roll-off container and collection and disposal of waste in the city of Apopka to Randy Suggs, Inc.
Any questions for Edward? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, we'll close the public hearing, look for a motion to approve ordinance number 2020-06.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously. Next up, ordinance number 2020-07.
Resolution number 2020-07, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Apopka, Florida, granting a non-exclusive franchise to Container Rental Company, Inc., to provide roll-off container collection and disposal of waste in the City of Apopka, Florida, pursuant to City of Apopka Code of Ordinances, Chapter 58, Article 3, providing for the term of years for the franchise, providing for the franchise fee, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, Edward?
And finally, Resolution 2020-07 grants a non-exclusive franchise for roll-off container collection and disposal of waste within the city of Apopka to Container Rental Company, Inc.
Any questions for Edward? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Not, we'll close the public hearing and look for a motion from the council to approve resolution number 2020-07.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bankson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next up, city council reports.
Well, obviously, these are unprecedented times, and it's, a challenge. I think the biggest thing is how we can communicate, and of course, staying within sunshine. There's just unique challenges. I know the staff is facing this. We're facing a skeleton crew. I think it is a wise decision that we postpone the farmer's market because of current things. They're changing all the time.
Every day.
So we make decisions based upon information that we have, and then you get more information. So I do think that's wise. It caught us a little off guard, at least for me. I can't speak with others because we can't talk to each other. But asked by the public, why we were doing this, and I didn't even know we were doing it initially. So I don't know if there was a reason that couldn't be communicated to us before it was found out, or,
We probably slipped up on it. Probably.
Okay.
I would admit we
Okay, and
probably
again-
should let you know. Yep.
Well, again,
Yep.
we're doing a whole lot of things, and,
Yeah, it's trying times,
But,
for sure.
anyway, well, I appreciate finding about that this morning, and so, all right, thank you. That was all.
Okay, Commissioner Smith.
Well, I guess like Commissioner Bankson said, it is trying times, and we don't know from one day to the next what we are going to be doing or not going to be doing. And it seems that most of our residents are complying by the social distancing. In most cases, I did observe some individuals playing basketball in one of our city parks, and so I did say something, and they reluctantly left. Not sure they came back after I left, but they did leave at the moment. And so I just would just admonish our citizens to remain cautious, remain careful, take care of themselves, and this thing is serious.
Commissioner Becker?
Yeah, I mean, the Commissioner Bankson and Smith touched on it. It's really about the communication. And right now, there's communication coming from the federal level, state level, county level, we're getting at the city level. But when people engage with me, they're questioning how are we communicating? It's what are the channels that we're trying to communicate through? So, really, and I know that you've set up a location on our website that's updated periodic. Is there a formal, hey, it's updated daily or updated weekly? I just want to be able to provide back to people that engage with me. Just
That's
to give
a great
clarity.
question. We get federal, state, and local, as you say, memos, and 95% of the stuff is the same as you got yesterday, as the day before. And so for us, just to try to disseminate the information to get out there has been a challenge. And if you'd like, we could, for the next 30 days, if you'd like us, we could commit to a once a day, at least 5 days a week update. But I want to make sure that we're giving new information, because if I give you the same information, you'll quit looking at it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of that slippery slope of giving you good new information versus giving you the same information you got yesterday, because then you quit going to the website to look at that, the COVID, 19 update. So I'm happy to, if you'd like, we could do, if there's nothing that we see that's a new update, we could just say no new updates for today.
And,
Is that-
yeah, and you're getting ready to go over
Yes.
information if I'm
Yes.
reading this right. So I think, and rightfully so, we've got such a passionate respect for our first responders in Apopka. I mean, everybody loves our police and fire. So what precautions are they taking to make sure that they themselves are safe as well as our residents? So I think if you post whatever we're getting ready to review on there,
yes,
then it becomes, hey, this only changes if, strategy changes, right?
Yeah.
And then, I've been getting a lot of calls from people saying, are people generally, because I see a lot of cars out on the roadways, but how are we communicating that? So I know we've got our Facebook page. I know that we've got the website. Is there an opportunity to leverage the YouTube channel and you do some videos or staff do some videos just to kind of, again, put faces to names and just kind of make it more personal touch?
I would agree that's probably a good thing to do. I think, I'm just going to speak candidly and frankly, is I think 80% of the people out there are doing a great job. There's 20% of the people are not doing what they should be doing, and we've got to get it to 100% because, I was watching the president's, some of the graphs he was showing last night on his, on the press, and showing the difference between New York, Connecticut, and California and Washington, and the differences were dramatic, the increases in the cases. So I want to be like California and Washington and not like, New York and Connecticut. So are we doing a good job? Yeah. Are we doing a great job? I would venture to say we're not doing a great job. We can do better. Let's put it that way. We can definitely do better in how we're, social distancing and probably the messaging we could do a little better.
Because I want to be able to leverage my
Sure,
social media page
sure,
and just
sure.
kind of restate what staff and you are
Right.
putting out there already. I don't want to mix messages. I
yeah,
just want to
yeah.
be able to leverage what you all are using and just help aid in that
Right.
effort. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can get that information that we can then forward
Sure,
on, so we get it
absolutely.
out there. And I was going to ask Mayor, I know that Robert is doing a tremendous job over at the chamber, and we're working together with them. Is there a way that possibly what they're doing could help coordinate and alleviate on the staff some of that burden of distilling the information? I don't know if that's
I
something
think we're
that,
too distinct.
Okay.
Their track is the small business track. Our track is employee safety plus city safety. So
I know
think
he's
we're-
on all of the calls, the
Yeah,
state calls.
Yeah,
all the
I
different
think,
ones.
I think we're trying to stay in our own little lane on what we're doing, and, his is to help with the employer side, as, as well as employee side. Ours is more about the public safety side, and so I don't, we've done a pretty good job trying to connect, and matter of fact, you've got just hot off the press in the last 20 minutes from Robert as far as how to go get money for the small business loans and some of those programs that are out there from the federal bill, just, the CARE Act. So that's in there. So I'll be happy to give all this to well, you've got it now, and also we'll give it to the Apopka chief as well.
And Mayor, I want to say I was able to engage in the conversation with the chamber that they had in the
Oh,
press
did
and the webinar on yesterday, and some very good information that they passed along. And so they're doing a good job of getting out and looking out for our local businesses to make sure that they know where they can go to get help, and also encouraging our citizens to also support local businesses by going and doing the takeout food as well, so they can sustain themselves through this crisis.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Commissioners. Edward?
I don't have anything, Mayor.
Okay. Joe, you good?
Unless you want me to address the virtual, why we don't.
Nah, we'll just hold off that. Okay, under the mayor's report, I've got a bunch of documents in front of you. Just want to kind of go through kind of the COVID-19 update. We've got, I call them city responses and then community responses. Just so everybody knows out there, we have had 3 employees that sent home as a precaution and precaution only. We do not at this current time have any city employees that have confirmed COVID-19 issue. We've also had 1 employee off for 2 weeks due to underlying health conditions. All of our non-critical staff are working alternate days, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. They'll be working Tuesday, Thursday next week. The members working Tuesday, Thursday this week will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. We're going to have to, we'll address that on Monday or Tuesday of next week as to how we go forward. We, let me just tell you, folks, if we don't have the best IT department in the state, we got the next best, because I can tell you, these guys and gals have been working absolutely overtime. Kudos to you guys. They have got us up here, you know, on YouTube. They've not only done that, they got Commissioner Becker an hour ago. I said, hey, can we get you a mic over there in the corner? We got that done. They got us 2 stations over at the EOC for our dispatch to give them more space at EOC. They're going to be streaming live starting tomorrow. We have a lady that does our chair exercises, and the seniors who can't get out need to be able to do their exercises. So we're going to have a YouTube video Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting tomorrow, so if our seniors can get their exercises in place. So, and we couldn't have done it without these guys. Next up, we've eliminated public access to our Public Works Department, so there will be no entrance from the public into the facility out on Cleveland. Farmers Market for now postponed until May 7th. We are giving extensions on all of our permits for 6 months. I've got a couple of documents that you have in front of you. One is the new county stay-at-home ordinance, and we're going to go, as in the last 15 minutes, I've got another a document for you. We also have included the police and fire emergency protocols. We've stepped up our game there. We even have asked Chief Wylam. I know we've got at least one person who's in the system that's not a full-time employee, so we need to bring them up. We could. We also have volunteers. We're going to be talking with our legal and HR team. Could we bring them on if it really gets bad? Which brings me to an interesting dilemma. When people call now for let's say they think they have the COVID-19 virus, they call us, they call 911, and we do have to show up. We have to, we have to respond, but realize that when we have that, we have to then suit up completely. We have to go pick up the individual. If we need to take them to the ER, we take them to the ER. Then we have to decontaminate the whole ambulance. We have to we have to throw away the mask. And all these things have to be thrown away or cleaned before we can go back out. So I would ask the people out there, if you got symptoms, please, if you can not use our 911 dispatch, we can save our ambulances for those critical positions and incidences that we got to get them there. So, it's one of those, if you're just having, a flu and or you've got a temperature and you've got some of these conditions that would warrant it, by all means, go to, your primary care doctor or call him. But if we can limit the access to our ambulances to those real critical issues that we know need immediate response and immediate delivery to our hospitals, it would do us all some good. We just got a friend who just called me up and said he's got an antibody test for COVID-19 that we will have either Monday or Tuesday. So we're going to be able to test all of our first responders to see if they have the antibody in there. At that point, then they can go and get the test from the Centricare, which will be a little farther down. So we're going to have those tests in-house Monday or Tuesday of next week, and we'll test all our first responders, which is police, fire, and dispatch. We're continue to recruit. For now, we're going to recruit for the summer Apopka Youth Works program, but try to do that remotely. Just so you know that the testing, we want to make sure we got the testing right. There is they relaxed the testing that you can get, and if we know it's going to be now at the Centricare here in Apopka, there will be testing. They had it at the point, they had it where you could only be, you had to be 65 or older to be able to get the test. Now they've wiped that out, and as long as you have a temperature above 99.6 and either an underlying health condition or other symptoms, then you can go get it'd be a drive-through test at the CentraCare there on 441 near the Panera Bread.
Do you know what type of testing that they're doing? Do you know what the return cycle is? Because the governor had mentioned the other day, talking about some that would be ready in like 15 minutes.
I don't know if it's the
test?
Abbott one.
Okay.
I don't know which one,
Okay.
so I don't know that one. So I'm going to go to the next one, which just came out in the last 15 minutes. Governor DeSantis has issued a stay-at-home order for all of Florida, beginning tomorrow night, April 2nd at midnight. It will last for 30 days. It says in there, essential businesses will be able to remain open, but must practice social distances. These include, but are not limited to, grocery stores, pet services, restaurants offering takeout or delivery services, gas stations, pharmacies, and doctors. What they, the caveat is to not limited to. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like it's going to be even more restrictive than the county one I just gave you 30 minutes ago. So that's working on that. Next up, one of the things we have offered up, got a call from Tim Clark from the Advent Health Hospital here in Apopka. And if this thing gets worse or a lot worse, we have offered up our site on Binion Road for a mobile hospital site. If we get overwhelmed and the hospital can't manage them all, the site, which is right down the street from the hospital, we've made it available to FEMA and/or Advent Health as our partners. We've also offered up, the city has offered up the Northwest Rec Department for graduation parade site. We don't know where we're going to be in May, but we've had a lot of angst amongst our seniors here that they might not get a graduation. So what we've been able to, had Mike Suber, who does our GIS mapping, been able to make a parade route through the Northwest Rec site to be able to hold up to 2,000 cars parked, and then have the graduates then drive through it'd be like a parade for the students. If that's something that, in May they really, want to have a graduation and can't do it at the UCF arena. So we've offered it up. Right now, all hands are that we're going to do the graduations at UCF, but we've made that offer, and they know that we're willing to help make that happen. You also
Mayor,
have...
Now, they're gonna be for both schools?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what we've done, we've told them we'll just keep the same date and times. The Wekiwa High School is the 18th, I think from 8 to 11, and Apopka High School is the 30th. I want to say 1 to 4, but anyway, I've
whatever
got,
time,
yes,
right.
whatever the time is today, we'll keep the same time. Even got Salem Communications will come out and do a live recording or live show at Northwest, so the kids at least get their recognition.
Okay.
So anyway, it's out there. Hopefully we don't end up there, but we've made that offer to them. As you see, there's a packet here from Robert Agrusa and the Apopka Chamber of Commerce about the loan RFQs. So for those small businesses out there that looking for the CARE Act loan, this has got some information that will be good for you. Career Source, centralflorida.com, /coronavirus dash support for any job opportunities. Although there are a lot of jobs that are on being furloughed today, there are some, especially the internets and our grocery and pharmacies that have job opportunities. So they're there if you want to go to see where they are available. The state is relaxing requirements for our retired healthcare providers to make them available now. So they're just working through those details. DCF has extended the recertification extension for 6 months. OCPS schools are now closed until May 1st. All driver's licenses, renewals in April have been extended. commercial truck drivers, which we need more desperately now than ever. Their hours of service regulations have been waived. Early refills of medical prescriptions by providers are now required, so that our medical, Aetnas and Blue Crosses have to be able to give you early refills. The Department of Revenue has extended the sales tax due dates, and the DOT has completed over 1,100 traveler forms on I-10 and I-95. So I think that's kind of a quick overview of kind of what we at the city have done, what we, the county, and we, the state, and we, the federal folks have done to kind of put us in the position. But I think the bottom line is we go back to Governor DeSantis and this 30-day order. We need to live up to that order, and we need to be the best we can be in this next 30 days, or we'll be like New York, and we want to be like California or Washington. So with that, any questions I can answer?
I know you've been working on it. Will we continue in our next monthly meeting 2 weeks from now to meet as we are here, or are we going to look at an online?
I assume so. I don't know if anybody got a chance to look at Orlando's online. It was, I don't want to say it was a disaster. It was the best they could do under the circumstances. First of all, if now that we brought the point up, I'm going to have Joe come up and kind of tell you that, kind of what I think we see from a legal point of view as to the online. Joe, since it's brought up, I wasn't going to bring it up, but since Commissioner Bankson is to kind of give you the.
Sure, and Edward and I were just cross-talking there, so what I think I'm addressing is virtual meetings.
Yes.
So there has been, as I sent memos to the mayor and to the commissions, we could not, the statute requires this body and our planning commission to meet physically in a quorum unless there was an order from the governor saying that was waived. The governor issued that order, I think it was last week. I think I sent you an email following that up that I said that was last week. So you might say, well, why aren't we doing that right now? Well, there are certain problems and complications to doing virtual meetings. And all of those come out in these discussions among municipal and county attorneys. And there are a few outliers that have tried to do some of these virtual meetings. But one of the first things that I'll just tell you, if you do try to do a virtual meeting where you have individuals being able to participate, you have to understand two things. There's a difference between a meeting that's open to the public, and there's a difference between that and a meeting where the public has a right to participate in it. Always keep those two separate. So for instance, tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to have a bid review committee about a bid going on. Well, we're streaming that, but we're not worried about participation. So no one gets an opportunity to participate in that, and we're doing that in a way that while we're going to have a physical presence, the individual bidders will be able to be there present in a virtual online manner. The problem, as the attorneys see it, is over here, those participatory. So think quasi-judicial, okay? On quasi-judicial matters, not only do you have, it's fine that you all wouldn't have to necessarily be here physically, but there are other roadblocks to being able to pull this off virtually. There's a right to cross-examine witnesses. There's a right for individuals to be present. So the attorneys that have pushed to do virtual meetings, when they are saying you can do the virtual meetings, let me tell you what the vast majority, outside of the 2 or 3 outliers who have said, well, we're going to do them, they would say, number one, push any measure or issue that's of significance off your agendas. Don't do anything, and that includes all land use issues. Well, a majority of your agenda are land use issues that involve quasi-judicial. They also say that whatever you do discuss, make sure when you do meet again in a physical presence, then that you should then affirm everything that you did. In other words, we're not really sure that everything that we'll do in these virtual meetings will necessarily pass muster if it's being reviewed by a court at a later time. And so what the attorneys are saying is don't do anything that could be controversial, which might be very difficult under these circumstances. Don't do anything land use, avoid anything quasi-judicial, and basically, anything that you do decide on and measures that you do decide on, understand that you're probably going to, in a later meeting, have to reaffirm all of those decisions that you made. So what that means is it makes from my perspective, it makes the complications of, even though you may have a certain level of technology, it makes us being able to pass all those hurdles nearly impossible. The mayor and I have discussed some other potential ways that we could do this. Would you like me to? Sure. One way, while it's not super high tech, but one of the ways that could be possible is that we could make sure that our agenda is announced, and we could have like I don't know exactly what it's called, it's like a short distance radio, where people could come, sit in their cars, be listening to the live audio, and as the issue comes up that they would want to discuss, then they could come in, and we don't have any more than just so many people per issue, and when they get done, they would then exit out the building, and that as they're listening, then they could come in. As you know, if you're quarantined in your car, you're okay. You're separated from your car. I mean, that's the assumption that we're all working on. It allows us to then we could still do those matters that we need to do, to move forward and do those kinds of things that we need to do. As it might relate to quasi-judicial matters, significant issues that need to be discussed. I really don't know that there is any, outside of maybe one or two outliers of one or two municipal attorneys who said, my council did, and the vast majority of county attorneys, when there was a webinar that they put on the emails that I have just been, we all get covered up with on how these things go, all of them say, basically, if you're going to try to do the virtual meeting, you've got to avoid these kinds of things. So my recommendation would be is that, and I don't know that that solution that I gave the mayor is something we would do. I don't even know that there's problems that makes that impossible, but I thought that was one way that we could do it. We would still be physically separating people. We would still keep them to a minimum, but they would still have an ability to come and speak on the issues that they wanted to speak at. They could still do the things like what the mayor did in this meeting, where if they want to have a card, response card, and have it read into the record, that could still be done. They don't have to actually sit in their cars and wait till the matter is, they could still do that, so everything's read to the record. Of course, they're not here to give their expression and their energy to those things when they're read into the record, but nonetheless, that would still be done. So it would be a both and in any event, I would say, and as I have said to the staff and to our IT staff, one of the most important things is that we try to do the live streaming of all these things. The real catch here is how do we allow meaningful participation in those parts where the public is supposed to be able to participate. And there's just so many hurdles to that right now, in my opinion, if you want to do a virtual meeting, you will have very short meetings. There will be no real meaningful agenda for the most part. As you saw your agenda today, probably, I tried to calculate it, but I didn't see, but probably at least half of what you did today, you wouldn't be able to do virtually if you follow the guidelines that's being recommended.
I just didn't know if the governor's present order would conflict with that at all.
Yeah, it's not much. So, I mean, I'm hoping we'll get some more details here, and we'll get those out to you as soon as they become available.
And I do agree, based on everything that you said, that's necessary, for the good of the people of this city, and we are taking all the precautions, as I can wave way across the room to my colleagues.
And I would say that if the governor's order does, and I haven't had a chance to read it, I just got the alert myself while we were in this meeting that it's official that he has this stay-at-home order. If there's a conflict there, then the complications are not just for Apopka. They're for every county and municipality in the state of Florida. And Tallahassee the governor's office would have just created a conundrum for all of us. Because in essence, you'll have just very brief meetings that will talk practically about very few things that probably would be what we did here just at the end. The report that you're all asking to be put out there about COVID-19 issues, we won't be able to really conduct city business as far as, for the most part, really and truly.
To that matter, and aside from what you were just describing, it piqued my interest. Obviously a lot of the grocery stores and things like that are doing some senior hours and stuff like that. I've had some people reach out in terms of if there's seniors that are in need, obviously there's still a shortage of toilet paper. Obviously, we've seen that in the stores and some other critical supplies. Do we have any city locations for supplies where if people are interested in donating for the purposes of giving them to more at-risk or at-need folks, that we can do something like that? Don't need an answer, just something to explore and
I would think
think
Loaves
about.
and Fishes, matter of fact, it was, April is Stamp Out Hunger Month for the post office, and they've canceled that program, which I understand why they're doing it, but if there's a bigger need than right now, I don't know what to tell you. So what I want to do is try to, see if we can't leverage what they were about to do. I can't remember what day in late April, is maybe we try to get people to donate money, and let's go to Publix and let their buying power get us some of those items to take them to. I think Loaves and Fishes is set up to do it. I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel, but I'm open to any suggestions. Sure.
But you're talking about now, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But
because right now,
I
I
think
mean,
Loaves
look-
and Fishes is closed, aren't they?
I don't know. I don't know.
One of the residents told me they went by there and they said they were closed.
Are they really?
That's what I was told.
I know that we have a ministry that we're working with that has the ability to get in basic supplies, toilet paper,
Yeah.
But at this point, we're like, okay, what would the regulations now be? Is there something that they would have to qualify for? 501c3s that are set up for that, but now the concern's, how do we do that? What's the protocol for them, gloves, washing in between, all of those
Yeah.
things. So who would we work with to try and figure that out? Because there are supplies available, but now with this present order, how do we get them to the people without,
Yeah, right now, I know
uncharted territory?
Yeah, they've been doing the feeding program at Kitland Nelson Park, and they just put them in paper bags and just, you just come.
And we did a food distribution at our church on Monday. And previously, we allowed individuals to come in and go through and select what food items they wanted because we didn't want to throw it away. But this past Monday, instead of doing that, we bagged everything up and we were out in the driveway and we allowed them to drive through. We give them the bag and they just kept going. And we had a few people that walked up, and so we just made sure they kept the 6-foot distance and waited until the next person had taken their food and moved on. And we did that under what they call essential services.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was no gathering of large groups. They just drove through and kept
So
going.
that won't be hindered as long as proper protocol. Is there a proper protocol that we need to follow? All of that sounds very similar to what we had done.
Yeah, and the protocols, I mean, obviously, that's not, you have to do that, right? But where I get people engaging with me, there's a lot of good things happening at a lot of good places. There's a lot of disparate initiatives. People are donating these supplies and people of need are getting these supplies, but just on a one-off basis. So I just didn't know if, as a city, we can kind of consolidate some of that. As we are aware of these things, again, post it on Facebook or put it on the website. Hey, so, X church is getting these supplies to Y people. Just being able to communicate that out so people that know there's some spots to get this stuff.
Let me kind of reach out to the county and see what.
Just in regards to Loaves and Fishes,
They're-
I just checked their website, and they are closed through April to do their part.
Yeah.
So,
So we
Yeah.
need to try to figure out something.
Yeah.
I'll get with the chief, Chief Wylam, and see, from the health perspective, a protocol that we can work on. I think my vision is if we're going to do it, it'd be nice to have cash so we could buy, so we're not handling it 4 times. The Publix, the kid on the stock on the shelves has touched it, and you got the guy in the back that's cut the box over and he's touched. So the fewer hands touch it from where it's coming from, I think the better we all would be. So if we could try to get the supply chain, farther up the supply chain, and so we limit those number of touches, it would be very helpful.
Yeah.
But whatever y'all do, leverage us because
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
we're all willing participants.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Okay, last but not least, I want to leave us on try to leave us on a high note, if I can. Had a lady, Jenny Andre from Apopka. She reached out to me this week and said, hey, I have these, I've been making these surgical mask clips. Right now, if you see, you know, when you go to the hospital, when they have the mask, they have the ones that have to go around their ear, and after several hours, your ears start to hurt from the elastic holding it tight on your face. So she's made these elastic, or these clips, so they, instead of clipping around your ears, they have a clip in the back, so that your ears don't get, you know, irritated. So I just want to let you know, and so I hooked her up with Tim Clark from Advent Health, and she's donated 500 clips to help out our local hospital.
That
So,
is great.
pretty cool. And last but not least, you know my love is for the nursery industry, and served in that capacity for a lot of years. And so I was asking Chief Wylam about the supplies and what was needed, and you know, it's masks, it's suits, it's all that. Well, one of the, you know, called the BWI here in Plymouth, said, hey, y'all have any of the Tyvek spray suits? You know, it's a coverall with a hoodie and completely, you know, impervious to the COVID-19 virus. So I said, hey, we want to order, so ordered 200 of these suits, you know, from medium, large, extra large to double X, and they delivered them for no cost.
Oh.
So, you know, we still have a bunch of great people in this town, and couldn't be more proud of those folks. And with that, we'll close the public hearing.